when you started Visual Studio 2019, okay, normally this is what you will get. Okay, so basically, if you actually open or run the videos that I have actually embedded within the VLE, some of the screens are not based on Visual Studio 2019 but Visual Studio 2017. So because the videos has been developed before using the older version of Visual Studio, but basically the codes are the same. The only differences is some of the layout of the elements for you to start. Okay, but now I'm using Visual Studio 2019. Okay, so this is what you get. Okay, now because this is the first time for you to create a project, so you will find that there is this create a new project. Okay, now this one, okay, forget. Okay, if you, for example, if you have existing project, you want to open the project that you have saved before, you can open a project. Okay, this is open a project, but now we are going to create a new project, so this is the create a new project. Okay. Okay, now so what you need to do is that you need to scroll further to the bottom and you will notice that this is C sharp here. Click next. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to use lab 1B. Okay, a different name. So basically you can also use a different name. For example, lab 1, lab 1B. What's important is that I want you to have the last 5 digit of your student ID here. So let's say I give this lab 1B 520437. Okay, and I click create. I choose empty, add folders and core references. Now this is, I select web forms and I click create. Okay, now once I have created this, okay, uh, similarly I want to add, the first thing I do is that I need to add a new form. So here is select, make sure that you have selected here, okay, this one, right click, add, we have web form. Okay, add web form. Okay, item name web form 1, so I choose the default name web form 1. I click OK. Okay, now I have this particular screen. Okay, you will notice, okay, at the top of the screen there is this language equals to C sharp. So meaning that once you have this, you are sure that you are creating your project using the C sharp language, which what we are going to do today. Okay. Uh, okay. Any question from any one of you? Is it
None, sir.
Okay.
okay? Is it okay for me to go on? Okay.
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 Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if you look at the right of your screen, there is what we call a solution explorer. You will notice that there is particular web form 1.aspx. Okay, now for every ASP.NET page, the extension will be .aspx. Now, here, okay, here I have the toolbox. Okay, this is what we call the standard toolbox. So this toolbox can be used for rapid application. For example, rather than to write manually the codes to create a particular object on the form, you can drag and drop. So we will look into examples here. Okay, now here you will notice there is this is what we call the source. So this is the source. Okay, the source is generally consists of what we call HTML text. So this is normal HTML. In addition to that, there is also a very specific ASP.NET text, such as this one. See this form? This is considered ASP.NET text because there is what we call, there is this run at server. Okay, when you have run at server, the form will be processed at the server side. Okay, HTML, normal HTML will be processed at the client side. Okay, now this is what we call the source. Okay, now this is, okay, I click, this is the design. This is the, what you see is what you get page. Meaning that the ones that you will see similar to what will be displayed on the web page. Okay, on the browser. Okay, now next, you see this is the split. Split means that you can see both the source and the design, okay, on the same screen. Here you can readjust the split. Okay, so this is the Windows. Okay, now let us show you a very simple code. Okay, now this is the form. Okay, similarly you can see that, okay, I'm going to the source. Okay, now the source here, okay, you will see that this is by default, you have the head, you have the body. Okay, now okay, before I go on, just to highlight certain things perhaps. Okay, basically in developing this, so the elements of HTML are something that you need to actually learn on your own. So because we are assuming that you have basic HTML knowledge. For example, I will not explain what is head, what is body, what is the P for paragraph, and so on. Okay, so basically if you think that you have limited, very limited knowledge on HTML, so please take an effort, okay, put some effort for you to learn HTML on your own. Okay, because we will not be covering HTML, but HTML will be used, okay, within ASP.NET. Okay, now here, okay, now let us write our first code. Now we have form. You see this div. Okay, now the purpose of this div is HTML. Okay, is normally we use div for CSS. Okay, for CSS. Okay, for you to do CSS. Okay, now we are going to actually just ignore this at this point of time because I'm not interested in formatting in terms of colors and so on at this point of time. So what I'm going to do for this is that I'm going to actually delete this div. Okay, you highlight this. Now let's say I'm going to get rid of this. Okay, if you do not get rid of this also, okay, no problem. Okay, so now let's say that I want to put in hello world. Okay, now this is, okay, when we actually type in the HTML tag, you will notice that there is an intelligence within Visual Studio. So this is called Intellisense. Okay, meaning that there are all the different ASP.NET and HTML controls that you can put in. For example, let's say I want to put in header H1. You can select this tab. Okay, this is H1. Or if you are familiar with HTML, just type H1, H1, oh, H1. So this is H1. Okay, header. So let's say hello world. Okay, so this is hello world. Okay, now this is the source. If I am going to click design, okay, now this is the design mode. This is the source, and if you split, you can see that hello world, this is hello world. Okay, now let's say that if we have another one, now let's say I'm going to type something else. Let's say H2. This is hello Malaysia. Okay, you will notice that when we type something, there is a message here. Design view is out of sync with source view. Click here to synchronize view. So meaning that this one is not updated. So when I click this one, you have this is updated. Okay, meaning that you can type this, or perhaps, okay, let's say I want to type something here. Let's say hello Malaysia. No, hello Malaysia. Okay, let's say this is goodbye COVID. Okay, we don't want COVID here. Okay, you will notice that when I type on the design, automatically this has been updated, okay, within the source. So at the end of the day, it is up to you whether you want to type your codes within this particular split screen, or you focus 100% on the source. Okay, this is the design, but unfortunately, if you are using this design mode to type, you cannot put in the H1, H2 and so on. So if you want to put in the H1, H2 and so on, which is the HTML tag, you need to use either the source or the split. Okay, now once we have, this is the design. So let's say that we want to actually display on our web browser. Okay, you will notice here there is this, you see this, like this triangle, this green color triangle. This is to run, and here if I am to select this, okay, so basically currently the browsers that by default, okay, the browsers is Microsoft Edge, which is I'm using. But if you have different browsers installed within your machine, you can choose. For example, you want to use Firefox, so meaning that it will open up your Firefox browser. Okay, so if you want this, for example Chrome, you can select display this on Google Chrome. Okay, if you only have one browser, it will display on that one browser. Okay, so let's say that I'm going to display this on Microsoft Edge. So I can select, let's say you select only once Microsoft Edge. See, it displays the name of the browser, and I'm going to click this. Okay, it is building. You will see all this. Okay, the first time, okay, the project is using, okay, now there is some okay, because now because of this is not an error, just to show you, because normally when we use in the real life, okay, there is to configure, we need to use a certificate. Okay, so basically the certificate is actually published by a certificate authority, but now we are using our local host, so we want our local host to configure, actually to trust the self-signed certificate. So we click don't ask again. If you have this, don't ask me again, and I click yes. Click yes. So this is only once. So if you have that, but if there's no asking, do you need trust, no problem, so it will run. Okay, so in case that there is this kind of message, it's not an error message, but this is for certification. Okay, so that we can trust that particular page for the browser. Okay, okay, it will load. Okay, for the first time when you run, it will take a little bit of time for you to actually develop. Here, and you will notice, okay, this is our page. So we have hello world, hello Malaysia, goodbye COVID. Okay, and you will notice here it runs from localhost. Okay, now this is the port. Now this port, okay, from my laptop to your laptop will be different numbers. Normally this is a 5-digit number. Okay, okay, this is the ID. So basically this will be auto generated by the server, by the web server within the Visual Studio. And here we have the name of our page is webform1.aspx. Okay, now this is actually hard coded text that we have started writing using Visual Studio. Okay, any question? Any question?
No, sir.
Okay, now
No,
the
sir.
okay, now the process here is actually, if you look into the video that I have published, actually now the video is the quality is quite less. You know why? Especially the audio, because the video that I have published for lab exercise 1 actually was recorded in class in the lab. Okay, so when I actually move away from the laptop, from the screen, the audio was a little bit unclear. So but I think in terms of the visual should be okay. So basically the steps that I'm doing here, you can actually see something similar, okay, in the video. Only you may ask, okay sir, why is it in the video that you share there are differences from the lab exercise sheet? Okay, the video is just for guide. Okay, the lab exercise sheet is just for guide. So normally I tend to change things because when I teach, I do not actually look into the exercise sheet. So this is come from what's in my head at this point of time. For example, this goodbye COVID, there's no goodbye COVID in the lab exercise, but it's okay to play around. Okay, okay, now let's say that to close, okay, I close the browser. So I click close. Okay, now when you close, make sure that the processing has been stopped. Okay, now this is meaning that, okay, now you have automatically it is stopped. If not, there is a square button here. If it's not stopped, you click that, but it's not here because this has, the processing has stopped. Okay, I just close this one. Okay, now this is actually what we call a hard coded text.